Marina, and I'll be the guide for today. And it's wonderful to see everyone joining us today, whether you're on camera or off camera. Um, that is up to you. We offer a warm, welcoming, inclusive space. And um, for the theme today, I decided to focus on the Heart Sutra. After our meditation practice, or Zazen as we call in Zen, I'll give a short talk on this Heart Sutra. It's one of the shortest and most recited texts in Buddhism, yet it is often also considered somewhat difficult or challenging because it puts a lot of concepts together, which do require us to study it and practice it. And for today, essentially what I'll be doing, because we have a short time together, is just an introduction. I would say a very light introduction of the Heart Sutra, perhaps to pique your interest to further study it. And then I'll provide some resources at the end. But let's begin with our meditation practice. So I was just running through with Jerry the run of show. And what I plan to do is go right into a seated meditation or lying meditation, standing if you choose, for about 30 minutes. And then after the meditation practice, we will have a pause for any reflection. I love to hear from the community and the sangha, what's alive for you? What's coming up in your practice? Any questions or comments? And this sharing, I believe, is very helpful for our community, our sangha, just to hear from each other. What's the practice like? And after the sharing, we'll go into some movement. And I have a couple Qigong moves that I wish to share with you today. And then, um, and then we will go back to the recording part for the Dharma talk. And then after that, another short reflection period, any announcements for the community, and then a closing so we can get on with our Sunday. So once again, warm welcome for all of you tuning in. And let's go right into our meditation practice. And so that invitation is to find a posture that is comfortable and really taking some moments in the beginning to feel into a posture that's upright if you're seated as best as you can, balanced. Might even be helpful to just to move a little back and forth, left and right, feeling into this posture. And just for some posture pointers, you may wish to soften your eyes, look away from the screen. This helps calm the mind. And just noticing where your shoulders are, perhaps bringing them up and back, opening the front body, more space for your lungs, for breathing. Slight tuck of the chin. This helps relax the neck muscles, the upper back, shoulder blades moving down your back. And the crown of your head reaching up. Just envisioning for a moment a string. Pulling your head up and in alignment with your head and your spine. Palms resting in your lap. Perhaps palm over palm. Thumbs slightly touching. This also helps with your awareness, alertness, as we find this balance between feeling rested, at ease, but also awake and aware as best as we can. Feeling the weight of your body on the chair or cushion. Feeling that gravitational pull as you sit upright. Finding your posture for meditation. And now noticing your breath. The breath in the body. And simply noticing. Nothing really to do, but just noticing the body breathing. Or if it's helpful to take a few deep breaths at the beginning of your practice to calm the nervous system. You can do this throughout your practice if needed. Just knowing and experiencing how the deep breathing triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, allowing you to relax while being awake. And then moving back to just noticing your natural breath, the body breathing in and out. You may notice a slight pause at the end of your out breath before your body inhales. Zen master Suzuki Roshi taught about tending to the out breath, taking care of the out breath, and noticing that pause. He even went so far as saying, as if we tend and care for the out breath, we may not fear death or dying as we do this practice. Just noticing. Allowing the mind to calm itself, allowing the mind body to calm, to rest on this simple practice. Of noticing the breath and the body breathing naturally. And when the mind is still, you may notice that other senses come alive. Like the feeling of your body supported by the earth, the bones, the whole skeleton, the muscles, the tendons, the earth element of our body, supported by the earth element of the ground, earth to earth. We can notice how the body is central to our existence. And its deep embeddedness, its deep interconnection with nature and all the elements. Like air, water, the sun. How our bodies have this self-regulating intelligence integrated with all the natural elements. We're inside this process. We are part of it. We can notice this also by feeling our bodies from the inside. The inside of this self-regulating system. Sensing the aliveness in our bodies, like a hum in the universe. A spaciousness, a boundlessness, a limitless space all around us. Noticing there are no boundaries. When we go in and down into this vast awareness, and just noticing if the mind is practicing in this way. Following the invitation of bringing the awareness in and down. Deeper into the depths of the belly breathing. And deeper into this more spacious awareness. Noticing if the mind is distracted in any way. Pulling you away from this practice. Just noticing. Any ruminating thought patterns, craving, planning, judging. And just noticing these distractions when they arise. Being curious. Perhaps noticing the changing nature of your thoughts. As they come and as they go. As they rise and as they fall. Just like the breath. Bringing your attention back to your awareness. Just becoming aware that you're aware. Seeing if you can rest in this capacity to be aware rather than clinging or craving or being distracted. Becoming alive in this moment. It's like stepping off the hamster wheel of thought, of repetition, into your life, aware and awake. With a more open heart, more compassion and wisdom. And through our practice, we train in this openness, not being lost in the mind. Allowing your wonder to stay open and not contribute to any harm, inner or outer. And taking the next few minutes to just sit with whatever comes up and meeting it with curiosity and compassion, practicing present awareness without judgment, just sitting. In the closing minutes of today's practice, let us tap into some metta or loving kindness. Feeling into any gratitude for being here today, for this community of other like-minded practitioners. Gratitude for the space, the dharma, the teaching. And feeling this metta, filling your heart space. We can dedicate the merit of our shared practice by expressing this gratitude for the opportunity to practice and to share the benefits with others, and reminding us that we practice not only for ourselves, but for the benefit of all beings. All beings gathered here today, all beings in our lives, and extending those well wishes out into the world, to all beings without exception. And we can share these well wishes radiating from our heart center to all beings May all beings live their lives with an awakened heart. May all beings be free from inner and outer harms. May we all experience peace. And may we find ways to give to the world generously and to receive from the world gratefully. May all these thoughts and well wishes reach all in need. And a deep bow of gratitude for you showing up today and allowing me to share some of these teachings. Thank you for your practice. And now slowly, in your own time, begin to bring some movement back to your body, flickering your eyes open. Perhaps rubbing your hands together a bit, creating some heat. Cupping your eyes, maybe even a little light massage of the forehead, the eyes and the face. And as we come back together, well, welcome back. And for today's Dharma talk, I wanted to share some really top-line reflections on the Heart Sutra. It's one of the shortest and most recited texts in Buddhism, especially Mahayana Buddhism. And yet it points to the very heart of the wisdom practice. So even if you don't consider yourself a Buddhist, the Heart Sutra offers really like a radical invitation to see life as it really is, fluid, interdependent, and free of some of the rigid categories we may impose. So I'm framing this as a very light introduction to the Heart Sutra, just because it is a complicated text. It has a lot of components that may need defining. And it could be, a week-long, month-long course just in and of itself. And I'm relying a lot on the text of this book called Living by Vow. And I can put a link into the chat later. Devotes a whole chapter to the Heart Sutra. But as mentioned, I'm going to share some top line reflections just to get you perhaps interested to study it and read it and practice it. So the Heart Sutra was composed around the 7th century and became central in Mahayana Buddhism. And it belongs to it's called Prajna Paramita, or the perfection of wisdom teachings. So prajna is wisdom or deep understanding. And, in our mindfulness practice, we know that wisdom and compassion go together. So the wisdom helps us discern which actions are needed and the most beneficial. The central theme of the Heart Sutra is this concept of emptiness. So perhaps some of you are aware of this teaching, and just knowing the Heart Sutra is the central theme is emptiness. And for those of you new to this concept and this teaching or the Heart Sutra, emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. It means that nothing exists independently or permanently. That everything is arising in relationship, interwoven with everything else. And so many of you have read or studied the texts or books from Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, and he once said about emptiness that emptiness means empty of a separate self. It means everything is full of everything else. So let me offer just a few key teachings of the Heart Sutra after I read it. So I'm turning to the book right now, Living by Vow, and I'm going to read to you the Heart Sutra, which is actually often chanted in Zen practice, in Zen centers around the world. It is a sutra that is chanted, and many believe that there are benefits to chanting and hearing the Heart Sutra. So let me share it with you. And, even if the text is, you're not understanding certain parts or components, just allow the words to come through you. Okay, it begins. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. When practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceive that all 5 skandhas are empty. And I would just say skandhas are like the body-mind formations. And was saved from all suffering and distress. So Avalokiteshvara is speaking to Sariputra and says, "O Sariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. O Sariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are neither tainted nor pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them. No suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, no attainment. With nothing to attain, the bodhisattva depends on prajna paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every view, the bodhisattva dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on prajna paramita and attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know the prajna paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the prajna paramita mantra, proclaim the mantra that says, Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisvaha. Okay, so that is the Heart Sutra or mantra. And as I said, I would just want to share a few of the key teachings of this sutra. Form, you may have heard the line, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. This concept, this is the most famous line of the sutra, I would say. And it reminds us that what seems solid is fluid. And what seems like empty space is alive with possibility. And so, in our practice, in the meditation, we consider the breath and the elements, like the air. The air seems empty, but it's the very substance of life. So emptiness, as mentioned, is not a void. It is a condition that allows life to appear. And it's also related to Zen Master Dogen when he taught to study the self is to forget the self. And to forget the self is to be enlightened by all things. And the Heart Sutra goes further. And there's the line around there being no eye, no ear, no nose, no suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment. And it may sound shocking and even confusing, but the point of this is liberation, that we don't have to cling to fixed labels or categories. It's like the collapse of categories. And so it's like loosening the grip. And once we loosen that grip of craving or clinging, we may experience that life opens. And as I mentioned, Suzuki Roshi, before in Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, he talks about in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but the expert's mind, there are few. Okay, so you see this line, this progression of letting go of the clinging and being open. This is also being open to practicing the middle way avoiding extremes. And this can be, helpful in everyday life, including life in America today, where we can choose a more middle path, with extremes around us, but embodying a path and a focus of non-harming and doing good, being skillful, being ethical. And this is the middle path. And the teachings of the Eightfold Path and the ethical behaviors of right thought and right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. And what we practice here can all help us be on this middle way, this path. And studying the Heart Sutra, and really the purpose behind it is just another tool, I would say an important tool and resource. And in mindfulness, we practice compassion and wisdom as one, that they're inseparable. So bringing in this concept of emptiness, we can also see the interconnection. And from this recognition, compassion also arises naturally. We're reminded through the Heart Sutra that wisdom and compassion are not two separate paths. They are one. So practical application. How do we apply this in our mindfulness practice? I think when we begin, when we sit, when we meditate, we can notice how thoughts come in, how they appear very solid, very real. But when we sit with them, our thoughts, and when we observe them, we can watch them dissolve. We can see the same with emotions. We can watch, we feel our emotions, feel them rise and pass like waves. And we can also explore through this concept of emptiness and studying the Heart Sutra, how the sense of self, of me, and the world softens in meditation, like we did earlier. Just really noticing the interdependence of things, the air, the breath, the body, the earth, our interdependent nature. And the spirit of the Heart Sutra, when we begin to see these things as less fixed and we loosen that grip, we may notice that we suffer less. And in that space, that clearing, compassion may grow, touching into our true nature, that deep-seated Buddha nature, the wellspring of joy that's innate, truly, in all of us. And once again, Thich Nhat Hanh, he encouraged practitioners that when we touch this emptiness, this concept of emptiness deeply, We touch the ultimate dimension of reality and we find our true home. And that can be a grounding and good feeling. So when life or watching the daily news these days bring moments of suffering or grief, fear, anger, emptiness can serve as kind of a medicine. But it's really important in this Heart Sutra that we don't see emptiness as an excuse or a bypass to dismiss the pain. This is really, really important, probably the most important thing I'm sharing today. But we see it as a way to meet our lives with this more space and clarity. And often the suffering, as we experience in our lives from time to time may feel solid, permanent, like, oh gosh, it's always going to be this way, or we're doomed. So studying the Heart Sutra, this concept of emptiness actually can remind us that these experiences are conditioned. They're causes and conditions. That's in also the Four Noble Truths about suffering, understanding the causes and conditions. They're not permanent. They can arise and pass. And we notice this. But the key point, again, is it doesn't make suffering unreal. It acknowledges it while loosening the story that defines it. In that loosening, we can find some space to breathe. And that's where the kindness and the compassionate action can enter. So in practice, we can name our experience gently, the emotion. Here is fear. Here is grief. We can allow that space around it, noticing if there's any changes, asking ourselves, is this as solid as it seems? What else is present now? And when needed, returning to the breath and the body as an anchor. It's not about denying any difficulty. It's about meeting it without being crushed by it. So emptiness can be a sort of medicine because it opens us to see suffering as a process and not as permanent. And another way to embody the Heart Sutra's teaching is through the practice of meditation, or in Zen we say zazen, or just sitting. Because in zazen we sit upright, deliberately, with energy and intention, yet also letting go of trying to control our experience. And this posture itself expresses the Heart Sutra's wisdom. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. And our meditation practice gives us the chance to see the movements of the mind as impermanent and conditioned and not solid truth. So this directly echoes, once again, if you reread the sutra, the teaching that there is no eye, no ear, no pain, no attainment. It loosens our grip on the small self that insists on controlling. And once again, just remembering importantly again, It doesn't mean escaping or bypassing suffering. It means facing our lives and reality as it is, without clinging or rejecting, and feeling, discovering the freedom of being right here and right now, and living on this path, this middle way. So in your next meditation, when a thought or feeling arises, you can ask, does it seem as solid as it seems? And what happens if I allow it to be more spacious? So in this closing, and I'm also just noticing the time. Wow. May our practice of emptiness be medicine, not to push away suffering, but to meet everything that we face in our lives with openness, with more clarity, and also with compassion. So thank you so much for your practice.